you so much for having me, you guys. I'm so pumped to be here. The only thing I'm the most nervous about is I just want to stay and talk to you all day, but I'm going to keep my eye on that timer and make sure that I don't go over. So for those of you who maybe, probably a lot of you have never seen me or met me before, maybe you have if you watch late night TV, because I do a lot of infomercials or have done a lot of infomercials. But what you might not know about me is I have been an entrepreneur all my life. My father was an entrepreneur, grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, but I like to say kind of old school entrepreneurs, where basically it's like a job and you're going bankrupt a lot of the time and you're working 90 hours a week. Old school entrepreneurship is when, at least what I learned from my dad, is just try to figure it all out yourself. Just figure out how to make that ad, figure out how to design your own website, figure out how to, don't invest in help. You'll save money by trying to figure it out yourself, which is not true. And I learned that the hard way. But I had to learn it the hard way by doing a lot of different things. And so I put myself through college at Michigan State University. I have this in common with Dean. I flipped cars. My very first business I ever started was called the All Michigan Auto Swap Meet. I'm from Michigan. What's up, Midwest? What's up? Yeah, there we are. But so that's what I did. And then I was like, I can make money doing this thing, solving a problem that I had, which was trying to sell used cars to make money to pay for college. But I was doing a lot of things. I was working as a paralegal. I was in network marketing. I was writing how-to books. I was a personal trainer. I was a fitness instructor. I thought I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to help women start their own business, and I wanted to do that by hosting these workshops and seminars. I was trying to do all of these things, and I noticed very painfully that I was kind of leading the same type of life as my dad, which isn't like an amazing thing, except I didn't want to be working 80 hours a week. And I didn't want to constantly feel like nothing was really working other than me working all the time. But I was so afraid to pick the one thing. Are you with me? Sometimes you're like, what? I could do a bunch of, I'm interested in kind of all these things, but I'm afraid to pick one because what if it's the wrong thing? Right? But I invested in a mentor who basically said, you have to pick one thing or you're going to be in this situation forever and ever. The thing I wanted to pick, a lot of people don't know this, the thing that I wanted to pick, I wanted to teach. I mean, I'm a teacher at heart. I wanted to teach women how to start a business. And I tried doing that. I tried holding seminars and no one showed up except my friends. And then I realized there was this opportunity, and I decided to focus exclusively on fitness. I had to choose one thing. FYI, I felt like such an imposter doing that. Trust me, I'm a confident person. I knew my program, I knew the workout I created was freaking unbelievable. But I didn't study exercise science. I didn't study kinesiology. I didn't look like your typical fitness girl. You couldn't see, I wasn't so lean that you could see my spleen like some of these women, God bless them. I didn't look the part. My degree is in justice, morality, and constitutional democracy. I was so afraid people would find that out and say, what are you doing? Excuse me, what are you doing? Right? I just was I wanted somebody else to do it. So I actually hired other people to be in the videos. I created this workout and I hired other people to be in the videos because I'm I don't look the part and I don't want people to judge me. I don't want people to say what, you have no business. And then one of the times when we were filming a video, my lead didn't show up. They got sick. I just had a baby. Ladies, how do you feel about your body right after you had a baby? Not so great. And I'm and now I have to go on video. Perfect. And I did. And I was just like myself. And that was the video that really took off for me. And it made me realize there are people who are looking for someone who looks different and who talks a little differently and has a kind of a different approach to all of this and maybe doesn't know about where the origin or insertion of the hamstring is, but they know how to have a good time. And that was my sole focus. Now, here's what I did. I focused exclusively on fitness, but I had a million other interests. And sometimes people don't want to hear this, but can I tell you, fitness wasn't the thing I was the most passionate about. It just wasn't. I mean, I liked it. I loved it. But it wasn't like the thing I felt like I was put on this planet to do. I feel like I was put on this planet to help people start a business. So this is going to help you. This is going to help you figure out what your thing is, what I'm about to say. Anytime I got together with other people and they wanted to talk about fitness, I'd be like, la, 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 la. I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, it's boring to me. I'm sorry. But when we start talking about business, I'm like, okay, let me give you a few notes here. And I would just I couldn't help but be a know-it-all. There is something that when people start talking about it, you can't help but being a know-it-all. I'm going to look at your chat. Am I right? Like there's something where you're like, let me just tell you how this is. Let me tell you how to do this. Let me tell you how to avoid this. Okay. And I started paying attention to the fact that I didn't feel that way about fitness. I felt that way about business. And I decided to then change my dot again. So the first thing I want to do is let you everyone just take a nice deep breath in and exhale out and know this. You can change your dot like 500 times if you want. And each time, if you really go all in on that dot, you're going to make money. And you're going to have fun doing it. You don't have to do one thing for the rest of your life. This isn't going on your tombstone. You can change it, and you will. But you first have to choose one and go all the way in. When I chose fitness, that's all I posted about in social media. That's all I talked about. That's all that I focused on. I wanted to be known for that. But once that light bulb went off in my head that said, I want to teach people how it is. I've had multiple #1 fitness infomercials. I want to teach people that the reason why I've sold tens of millions of exercise DVDs is not because I'm like the most knowledgeable fitness person you've ever met. It is because I know business and marketing. And that's what I want to talk about, and that's what I want to teach. So guess what I did? Focused solely on that. Just that. I stopped posting about fitness. Is fitness still part of my life? Totally. Of course it is. But when you really want to be known for something and help people for something, you have to go all in on that thing and not be afraid that it's the wrong thing. Okay, so the first thing I want you to know that hopefully is a relief is that you can change it 1,000,000 times, and you will. And if you have the right framework and the right mentors, you'll know how each time to change it, you can keep leveling up your income. That's #1. #2 is you have to go all in. You can't have a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. And, you know, I'm a chiropractor, and I also dabble in essential oils, and I like to talk about plant-based eating and like all of these things because, as Donald Miller says, when you confuse, you lose, right? And it's really confusing, though, because when you look at people, a lot of the speakers, you're going to see this. If you look at like our social media and what we do, you probably see we talk about a lot of different things. And so you go, wow, well, success leaves clues. That's what I should be doing too. Not until you become known. You have to become known for that one thing. So can I have you take out a piece of paper, and we're going to go through a little exercise. Make this fun for you, okay? So I want you to just, we talk about the mess in your message, and sometimes you'll hear people say, like, think about the most painful thing that you've gone through and how you can help other people with that. But sometimes, you don't want to go back there. You're not ready. You haven't done the therapy. You can't teach from an open wound. You need for it to be healed over. And so I just want to say, like, don't worry so much about the pain. I want you to just think about maybe 5 to 8 things that you've figured out, okay, that you've figured out or you've overcome. And you could definitely tell other people, you could give them some tips, and you could help them avoid some of the pitfalls, or you could save them money, or you could save them time, etc. Right? So just 5 to 8 things. Like, so randomly, if I was doing this myself, I would say, like, how to raise children to be able to buy their own cars. I figured that out. How to stay married for over 26 years. I figured that out. How to be a successful entrepreneur with ADHD. I figured that out. How to So keep listing all the things. Like, they don't have to be earth shattering. They don't have to be like so huge or like no one else has done this, but just fit. I want you more in particular. I want you to think about the things you like. And I also kind of love being a know-it-all on these things. I like talking about it. I figured it out and I like talking about it. Because if you pick a mess that you're still ashamed of and you still have too much pain around it, you're not going to want to teach on it. So pick something you're super dope excited about. Okay, then circle the 2 or 3 that you like literally people can't shut you up. If you hear that they're struggling with this, you're like, okay, come here. And you want to like tell them what to do with their lives, right? So pick the 2 or 3 things that you're like, oh, I love talking about this. I love telling people how to get this right. Okay, that was step 2. Step 3 is now, and here's the part that I think a lot of people miss. What problem did you solve? What was the problem? So like when I was watching your chat, I saw, and this is interesting, I saw Mark say that he wants to share the gospel with the world. Love that. Mark, what problem did it solve for you? So think about your own reason why you figured that out. Like what was the problem that you started with? Okay? What was the problem? So when I think about myself, the problem that I had is that I was doing business and entrepreneurship the old-fashioned way, thinking that I needed to figure everything out myself. I needed to do everything. I was afraid to outsource. I was afraid to invest in help. I thought that was wasteful. I thought like, you're supposed to be resourceful. Watch a YouTube video, figure this stuff out, right? So I want you to think about what problem you were solving. That's the problem I had to solve. Is I want to teach other entrepreneurs there's a better way. There's a quicker way to do that, okay? And then lastly, who? Don't say everybody, because if you say everybody, you're already missing out. So when I think about who it was I wanted to help the easily distracted, perhaps they have ADHD and are undiagnosed, but I wanted to help the easily distracted entrepreneur who has like a million interests and they're like all over the place and crazy. And like, I wanted to help them. That's who I wanted to help. Who do you want to help? And the more specific you can be, the better. So if you're to say, I just want to help women lose weight after a baby, it's just not specific enough. Like I want to help Nigerian moms who have dystasis, the separation, I forget what that's called. Rectus dystasis, is that the word? That separation. I want to help be that specific. What specifically? So I saw Chad said, I want to help people who have back pain figure out how to relieve their back pain through self-massage. Love that. Be even more specific. Who? Like men, women over 40, like be as specific as possible. But you have to start with one thing. Like, so think about it. You know this, right? Amazon is huge. I gotta back up. Can you see my skirt? Can we get a shot of my skirt? This is a shopping tip for the ladies. Can you see my skirt? Do I have to keep backing up? Okay. See the skirt, lady? I can't walk in. It's like I'm Peg Bundy. But I got the skirt for $14 on Amazon. What? Hey. Yeah, I'll hook you up with the link later. Anyways, but my point is, when Amazon first came out, they only did one thing. Books. That was it. Books. That was it. Now, I can buy a friggin' amazing skirt, and I also bought these shoulder pads that are driving me crazy. They're supposed to stick to your shoulders, but it's like sweating off. This is a shoulder pad. It's gross, though. It's driving me... Sorry. I recommend the skirt. I don't recommend these shoulder pads. One moment, please. Okay. My point is this. If Amazon had started with like all the things, sticky shoulder pads and skirts and food, like it wouldn't have worked because you wouldn't have known to go there. We all went there because it was like, this is the place that you go for food. For books. I can go there for food, but this is the place you go for books. You want to be the place that people go for the solution to that particular problem. So let me tell you this. I just want to give you a quick social media tip, all right? And I want to give you an assignment before my time's up here. Give you an assignment. I want you to pick 1 or 2 things. Actually, I want you to pick 2. You know that list that you just created? Just pick the 2 things that you friggin' love talking about and post on those 2 things only. I don't care about your dog. I'm sure it's really cute. That's great that you had spinach salad for lunch. Nobody cares. Like, pick those two things and just post on them, and then look at the engagement. Look, and it might be subtle, but notice which of those topics people want to know more about and are asking more questions and are engaged. Notice which of those two topics you get super excited about and you want to talk more about it and you want to go live about it and you've got a million tips and you've got so many ideas. Pick two things and then watch which one kind of does a little bit better, and then take that one and go all in for a month and only talk about that. Can you do that? Don't worry about your dot. Don't worry about your niche. These are all fancy words. Here's my question, and I'm going to watch the chat to see your answers. Can you focus on one thing in social for a month? Can you? Just the one thing, just for a month, not a week, literally a month. I did this personally. I already have a big social media following, but it was growing about this fast, right? And then I decided, what if I niche down even further? And instead of just talking about business and marketing, I just talked to those people who are highly distracted. My ADHDers, my ADD, my people who are like, I am all over the place. What if I just talked to them? Only them. Just them. And it was kind of scary because I'm like, I mean, not everyone has ADHD. Like, my husband is like laser focused, but I'm going to create content that like he wouldn't be able to relate to. Right? So I did that for 30 days. And in 30 days time, all of my social media platforms grew huge. On TikTok alone, I grew 90,000 followers in 7 days. What? Because people were looking for something super duper specific. Now, will I be very niched on talking to entrepreneurs with ADHD 3 years from now? Probably not. I'm going to change my dot. I can change my dot anytime I want. Anytime I'm like really excited about something else that I have figured out, I get to change my focus. If you've got the framework, you can change your focus as your interests and your passions change. And that's how you live a life with purpose. You don't find one purpose, you live a life with purpose. And when you do that, and you've got the right framework, you can change the trajectory of your life, your happiness. You can live life on your terms. For me, that means spending a lot of time with my family. I see you, Chalene. I see you. She's just hands up. Great. I love it. Yeah, you can change the trajectory of your current life. For me, that means I want to spend a lot of time with my family. That's the most important thing for me. My husband and I right now are full-time caregivers for my father-in-law who has Alzheimer's. And I am so glad that I figured this stuff out so that I can be present. And when I do step into work mode, it's stuff I freaking love. And you can do that too. It has been an honor to have spent this time with you guys. Thank you. Don't forget your assignment. This is so great. What a great group. I love you guys.